I feel like this is a freaking gimmick, honestly. Like, what is this supposed to do? Why did I purchase this? What kind of mood was I in that day? Anyway, hey Swamp family, it's Bunny, and I'm gonna turn some lights out so I don't blind myself and we can have a more casual, comfortable atmosphere. Excuse me, just 1 second. I feel like I'm in the best of moods. You can just tell by my sassy bun. It's like those old weather predictors that your grandma had, where it's like, if it's frozen, it's cold outside. Did anybody else have like an aunt or grandma that had that? Maybe that's like a really old thing. My great aunt and my great uncle had one of those things and I always loved it. But I feel like my sassy bun is like an indicator of what kind of mood I'm in, and like the sassier that it is, the better of the mood that I'm in. So let's get sassy, 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 so sassy, sassy, sassy. I'm feeling pretty exhausted today. I have been doing a lot of behind the scenes Halloween preparation for bigger videos. Pumpkin arch that I talked about a couple of videos ago is happening, but I have basically been running to every like Michael's and Target and Walmart in town to get the supplies for said pumpkin arch. I don't know what it is this year, but you guys, I feel like Halloween stuff sold out in 5 seconds flat. It's wild. Obviously, I couldn't just go to like one Walmart and buy 60 jack-o'-lanterns. Anyway, that is another video for another day. We are gonna make a video that I have wanted to make for a long time, and I don't know how interested you guys are gonna be in stuff like this. We would just chill, hang out, have a nice, easy, simple day. So I thought, what better day than to start talking about why
I'm a hoarder.
You know, just a nice, easy, quick, casual conversation. I kind of feel like I could make an entire series on this. Well, maybe not a series on this, but a series of taking you guys with me to help me like clean out and organize my spaces. Last VLOGOWEEN, we actually did a video together cleaning up my office slash filming room, and you guys really seemed to enjoy that video. So I would love to do one for like my closet. Today, I thought we would talk about like one of the more fun sides of hoarding. What's the difference between hoarding and collecting? I feel like if you say to somebody, I'm a collector, then it piques their interest and they're like, oh, what do you collect? I collect something too. Like, I pretty much feel like everybody collects something. But then if you say you're a hoarder, people just think that you're swimming in a sea of maggots and there's like a cat in your couch or something. Like, is the difference like an A&E television show? Like, if they would have made one called The Collectors, like, would that have had as much of a negative connotation? Like, I feel like that is kind of an interesting topic on a whole, is like words and how we define things, and then thusly how like society starts to look at those things. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's just sort of been like a running gag on the internet as long as I've been on the internet, that I'm a hoarder, and I do believe that maybe that's like partially true. I do have a hard time letting go of things, but I feel like partially that's because I can remember things or certain periods of my life better if I have objects to connect me to those times. Are any of you guys like that out there? I was gonna share with you guys like my hoarder notebooks today as like a specific example, but I feel like anything I can see like a tangible representation for. Time traveling is a silly word for it, but it's almost like I can look at this pencil, for instance, from IKEA that I have stuffed in this little book here, and I can remember exactly the day that I went to IKEA last year with a couple of my friends, and I can remember the items that we bought, like these cat curtains and this long like table and some rolling chairs. Like, I can remember everything because I have this pencil from IKEA stapled into a notebook. But if I didn't have this IKEA pencil, like there's many other, there's many other days in this little calendar that I don't have filled in as robustly. And it's like, I almost feel like I've lost those days in time in my mind somewhere. But the items that I do tangibly have trigger a lot more very clear memories for me. I definitely feel like that's part of it. I'm also like very sentimental. I'm not sure if this is a good portion of my personality, but I love thinking of the past and remembering the past. I love treasuring things from the past. I feel like that's part of the reason why I love hoarding or collecting antiques. Then I feel like it gets compounded because like, not only do I want to keep items from my lifetime, but also all the antique-y things. Like I like to keep items from other people's lifetimes as well. Definitely this ties back to like the paranormal video that I made the other day, which a lot of people were like, well, you buy all this old dead people's stuff, like what do you expect? Which is true. And a lot of times, like, I do buy items that I feel had a lot of love put into them. But I will show you guys right now, like one of my favorite dolls has literally been loved to pieces. It's just a head and arms. Maybe that's why I have the mind of a hoarder, because it's like I almost just don't understand how an item like this could ever be trash. Even though I do know that it, as the object it was intended, which is a doll, that purpose has passed, because it's obviously just a head with arms that sits on a shelf. But I don't know, I just feel like this is an object to be like remembered and treasured and loved and to be passed down to someone. But I do feel like once I bring some organization into the mix, or some decoration, once I have time to do stuff like that, or to organize it manageably like this, then it's more of a collection than a hoard. Somebody help me out on this. Does that make any sense? I wouldn't keep like cans of cat food or like Sonic cups or bits of food on plates. Like, I don't have those sorts of tendencies. I do have it in here. See? Okay, I'll show you guys. Literally one of my prized possessions out of everything that I own. Like one of the most important items in my life. Go ahead, take a guess what it is. You're never gonna guess that it's Spooky Halloween windsock. I have had this since probably the late 80s, if I had to guess. Like 88, maybe my parents bought these, and we used to have a ton of them, and every year my dad would hang them in the wood like ceiling area of our front porch. And then one year they were like, these are too ratty and gross, they've got to go. And I was like, okay, well, I have to keep just one. And I have kept this thing ever since. It has moved to every room and every house I have ever lived in. And I guess to some people this would be trash, but this is one of my life's greatest treasures. In my mind, there is such of a difference as like good trash and bad trash. Lately, the problem for me has been PR, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that they send is so interesting. So it's not really a problem. It's just, I love stuff that looks like this. I do. I got this from your ad. I don't even really 100% know what it is. It's a purple circle full of balls, and it's just been sitting up here on my makeup counter for probably 3 months. But I love the look of it. But I don't know, I prefer honestly like when I get PR like this, how am I ever gonna throw this away? I am never gonna throw this away. This just came from Urban Decay to launch their new cherry palette. I think it's called Naked Cherry actually. I love when they do stuff like this because at least this is like really a nice usable like sturdy container that looks really cool. I love it. I love cherries. I don't know. So in my mind, Sometimes I do feel like I keep too much and I need to get over it and let stuff go. And then sometimes I'll let myself cheat. And what I'm probably gonna do with this is keep one of these little purple dingle dangles and then just let the rest of it go, which I think this can be recycled. I feel like if I actually just like sat down and like went through certain spaces, then I could just get it clean and organized and then it wouldn't be a problem. With my hoarder notebooks, my hoarder diaries, which I brought to share with you guys today, I feel like it's all okay because it's basically like flat paper items or small plastic items that can be compressed into a reasonable amount of space. I have a little churro on here and he's getting torn and now I'm like distressed. Squishy churro with a face. I'll bring him closer so you can share this magic moment with me. I do feel like this is like an area where I'm able to compromise the most and like get rid of a lot of stuff because I'll just keep a tiny little piece off of something. I swear this will make more sense when I show them to you. But I also do feel like this is where I get a little crazy because I'm like, oh, there's trash and then there's like keepable trash. Like I know I've mentioned this in other videos. I call these lots of different names. I call them trash diaries, trash journaling, hoarder notebooks, hoarder journals. I just call them a little bit of everything. I keep a ton of stuff and it can really be anything. It can be like special little notes or cards from like PR companies, or sometimes you guys will send me like special little inserts with the Swamp Family mail, or like little stickers on the envelopes that I like, or this one has like glow-in-the-dark fangs hanging out of it. Like it can really be an assortment of anything as long as pretty much it can be glued or stapled down. And I really feel like I have been doing variations of this throughout my entire life. It started with me cutting out pages and pictures that I liked from magazines, and I pretty much have done that as long as I was able to hold scissors by myself. Like I've always, you know what is so crazy is I always did this kind of stuff when I was a kid too. Like if I was like taking a walk at school, you know, and like somebody had like dropped a sticker and I found like a sticker on the floor, like I would pick it up and like keep the sticker. And I've had little notebooks like this all throughout my life, and it kind of sucks, and I'm kind of figuring it out through process of elimination, that I think I lost a bunch of these little like journals and notebooks. We had a storage unit that got flooded last year during Hurricane Harvey and we lost everything out of there, which sucks, but I'm also not complaining because we were extremely fortunate with some of the devastation that happened around here. But it still kind of sucks to just like lose stuff like that that has like personal memories that can't like be recreated. I brought some examples, and I also brought this, which I don't know why, but see, this is something else. Like I can never part with this. Did anybody else have these in the 90s? They were from Sanrio and they were called a Friends file, and there were tons of different characters, and I got Keroppi. I've always been a Keroppi girl. It was like little categories, like most talkative, and then you had these little like bullet points, and like friends would fill this stuff out like through the whole journal. Favorite musical group? I picked Sting, Sugar Ray, Backstreet Boys. I started making like folders like this where I cut stuff out of notebooks. Oh my god, there's like pictures in here. Why don't they have these sticker machines anymore at the mall? And then I don't know why I look like I'm crying in here, but it at least looks like happy tears. And then this, oh my god. I used to have a friend and we would do this stuff called Car Wars, which basically meant every other night we trashed each other's cars. Bunny dog moment right here. And then this freaking picture, like I took like photography 101 basically in college, and my assignment was to take a picture with a pinhole camera. And so I took this portrait of Dogman. Sometimes I just wonder, like, where did all of my life skills go? Like, I was out there just building pinhole cameras and then, like, developing the film myself. Sometimes I miss doing stuff like that, and I guess that's, like, the crappy thing about once you're done with college. Like, I feel like colleges have a ton of resources, like, not just for the major that you're in, but also, like, other classes that you might be taking, like photo labs and stuff. I sure do wish I still had access to that. Really quickly, I'll show you guys this one that I had from high school. I feel like stuff is falling out of this one. It's really, really old, and I'm also trying to not show you guys any of the rough draft letters that I wrote to my boyfriend at the time, which is so cringy to say out loud. High school was just such a weird, awkward time. Who am I kidding? Every time in my life is a weird, awkward time. But for some reason I was writing rough drafts of letters to mail for my then long distance boyfriend, and I guess I was like nervous about what I was writing to him, so I would like practice writing a letter before I sent it. Homework that I printed out on Hello Kitty paper. And I've got just a lot of like my assignment folders and other people's report cards, I guess, that I was like hiding from their parents for them. Don't do that. Oh my God! This is a Valentine's Day card from Dogman, like a million years ago, long before we ever dated in our life. Here is like the form from when I ordered my Letterman jacket. I took this poster down, but I like cut it all up so I could keep these collages. So at one point in time in high school, all of this was a huge like wall of posters on my wall, and then I took it apart and I cut it in fragments, and now here it is. Is that a freaking picture of Moby? That's amazing. I was quite apparently really into Moby. Oh no, it's falling apart. I started making them into planners, I guess, so I could remember like month by month. So this was called a happy planner, which I thought would be great for my life because you can like expand it and buy like bigger rings. Like it came with smaller rings, and you can like add and take out pages as you need them. But it still got way, way, way too bulky. So this only goes up through July. Just loaded up with a bunch of happy memories. Like I love to save items from my videos. So this is back when we were doing 90s mail unboxings, and I was keeping a lot of the paper insert things from those. Oh my gosh, you guys, stuff falls out of these everywhere. This is when I was still doing like PR unboxings. Like look at this stuff. Like some of the stuff that comes in here is just so interesting and so much fun. And that's like squishy packaging. Like I keep a lot. Like look at that. How weird are these faces? This was a bag from one of my K-beauty hauls. Like sometimes I keep product packaging that I think looks really neat or is really memorable. But like when I feel like I'm flipping through stuff like this, like I can remember each box that I opened that had these items inside of them. I just feel like each one of these things has like a very strong memory for me. That is basically what the inside of this looks like. Oh my gosh, it's like when I got Leanne and Grant's save the date, and hopefully you guys can see this. Like sometimes from Banana Pepper's unboxings, I'll like cut up the box so that it lays flat, and then I can staple it in there. Here's some fast passes from Disney, and I feel like it just looks like a really trashy scrapbook. And I feel like that's what's going on here. But let me know. I feel like part of me is just making this video because I want to know how many of you guys out there are like this. Like I don't feel like it becomes a problem until I stop staying on top of it. Normally I keep up with all of my little like trash items that I want to save in like little envelopes like this. And I'm sad because this was like one from last year that I didn't finish. But I don't feel like it becomes a problem until I stop staying on top of it for a good long while, and then I've got something roughly like this, which is still from last year's ones that I have not finished. Oh my god, it's a pearl? I just found one of my pearls from Disney. Have you guys ever done that where you open up a oyster shell and you get a pearl out? Wooden spoons. Like, I've got all kinds of crazy, like a Halloween video that I never did last year. Crazy stuff. Matches. Probably shouldn't keep that around paper. I've got ribbons from like beauty blender things, all kinds of really fun to look at, interesting stuff in here. But I definitely feel like when things get like this, like I realize that this is a sign of something that's out of control. But I feel like if I just spent 2 really good dedicated afternoons to it, then I could like staple it all down. I also feel like it was just a problem with the books that I was using last year, which was a product by Moleskine that I really liked and also didn't like. Last year was actually the last year that they ever made this style, but it was actually a really good idea, especially if you just used it as like a date book, because you had a separate little mini book for each and every month. You can tell what my favorite month is, right? Like this is October's and like this is September's. Like big difference there. I will keep like napkins from, this was like my joint birthday party with my fake brother Chris that I had last year, and we did a Joker versus Joker theme, and so I kept some of the confetti and stuff that was on our table and a napkin, and we had green and purple coins. We had like money all over there, and we were messing around with water bubbles, and I stapled a little piece in here of one that we broke. Like definitely it does border on stuff that's really cute and stuff that is just plain trash, but it just makes up an entire memory in my mind. Sometimes I'll keep receipts from like when I go out to dinner with friends or something and I want to like remember that memory. I also loved these because I got to make like a custom cover. Like this is actually a little fabric cover. I cut up a tote bag that I got in a Japan crate, I believe, and I wrapped it around and I covered this little mini book. Like I definitely felt like I had more and less expression with these tiny books because I feel like for each month I got to create like a different cover, but unfortunately, like due to the small size of the book, I couldn't keep as many things as I wanted to. Last year was not the best year, so I feel like I kind of fell in and out of it. I definitely feel like that's why some years I've had these notebooks and some years I don't. Like some years I just consider bad years and I just try and like skim past them entirely, and I feel like I almost don't want to remember anything from that year, and so I don't keep as much. I feel like that's why I have 6 of these little mini books around, because like the last half of last year was decent, but the first 6 months out of the year was trash. So I feel like I just kept nothing from 6 months, and then I was keeping a lot. Halloween, of course, is like the most fun in my mind. Like I have a treat bag from last year. Do you guys remember these? I had these gigantic skull bags that I thought were so neat. I have a ton of wrappers from lots of different candies that we tried in different videos. Really cute candy wrappers. I feel like this one is full of like little candy wrappers that I loved. But of course I can only keep like the clean candy wrappers that don't have like stuff still in it. I feel like I kept the ones that mostly like housed wrappers, like other wrapped pieces of candy. I feel like I did one. Oh! You guys, this tripod is dead, but see, it's just another thing I refuse to let go. I'm gonna just unscrew it and staple it down in a notebook. Like, I feel like I am so attached to items and I don't know why. It's like literally I've been battling replacing this tripod for months because I feel like it's just kind of been on this journey with me, you guys. I'm just really interested, honestly, in the lives of you guys. Like, are any of y'all like that? Like, do you find yourself keeping a lot of things, or do you love to like purge a lot of stuff? Are you a minimalist at heart? Some things, like in my mind, like even though they have ceased to be useful, another good example is like I have every camera and every laptop that I have ever done anything YouTube related with in my life. Every laptop, every camera. Definitely some cameras have been broken or like been phased out of their usefulness, but I still have them, and I feel like I could never let myself part with them. But I also do know to some degree that has got to be hoarding tendencies, because it is an item that lacks any sort of use to it whatsoever. But I feel like that's like my history and my life story, and I feel almost like I lose a part of myself and I lose a part of my story if I don't have these items to look at. I do recognize that like I should just be able to let things go easier, but also ultimately I feel like I just need to organize things and just put them in shelves and stuff. Like I've got these cabinets up here that I should honestly put stuff in because they're all empty. I just haven't had the time to tackle it yet. I definitely meant for today to be a very, very short video, but we have some Does This Thing Really Works coming up, some exciting Halloween products to test. I feel like lots of getting ready for trick-or-treaters and getting ready for Halloween and all kinds of stuff like that. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up, but I just felt like kind of being more relaxed today. So if you found this boring, I'm sorry. And also if you found this boring, you're probably not here anymore. So but if you stayed the whole time, and if you actually enjoyed today's conversation, or if you just put me on as background noise, thank you guys for being here, for hanging out with me, and for watching. And if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below, subscribe, become a member of the Swamp Family, and give an alligator its wings. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye!